Welcome to Running Stitch, a QSOS podcast. I'm Yannick Smucker, and today we're bringing you a special mini episode, Voices from QuiltCon. Last year, we invited QuiltCon 2024 attendees to visit the Quilt Alliance booth and respond to one randomly chosen question from a list of our Quilters Save Our Stories interview questions. In this episode, you'll hear a patchwork, yes, pun fully intended, of voices talking about what drew them to quilt making, what makes a great quilt, and how quilts are a powerful tool for connection, healing, and creativity. Let's dive into Voices from QuiltCon.
Hi, I'm Katie May. I'm from Greensboro, North Carolina, part of the Greensboro Modern Quilt Guild. And the question I drew is, what makes a great quilt? And I really think that a great quilt is something that you look at it and you say, wow. And it makes you really just feel anything, honestly, anger, sadness, happiness. But for me, like something with a really great color variety or really impactful color can make you feel so strongly that like the message that the person is trying to send you through it. And that's the kind of quilts that I like and I think are great.
Did you say wow at any quilts you saw today here?
I haven't looked at that many, but there has been several that like I have stopped us in our tracks and like, we need to look at that right now. It's incredible. And it's just, I love it.
I'm Michelle Howland, and this is my first QuiltCon event. Oh, great. It's amazing. I'm overwhelmed, and it just started this morning, so I don't know if I'm going to survive it all. But I pulled a question from your samples here, and I said, are you a member of any quilting groups or communities? And yes, I am, and I love them all. First, I am a member of the Quilters in upstate New York in the Finger Lakes area. And we are also, because of that, part of the Quilting Consortium of New York State, which is a larger consortium of other quilt guilds throughout all of mostly upstate New York. I live in Florida in the wintertime, and I've been invited into the Sarasota Modern Quilt Guild, and that's how I ended up coming here to QuiltCon. I've learned immensely from all the women and the good friends that I've met, the great communities, these quilting groups. And so I started out being a dressmaker type person and an alterator. And now I'm sewing more for total fun and creativity. And I do love this, but I struggle with color and design. So I'm always trying to get further along.
Lots of inspiration. Right?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, absolutely. Too much of it. It's like, oh yeah. Yeah, so I've been a crazy lady here the last couple hours. It's nice to sit down.
Susie Muller. I think a great quilt is something that you love yourself. I personally do not like standard piecing. I love English and foundation paper piecing. I think it's whatever you love. Some people hate that. They think it's very frustrating. I also think that some people like to do have a plan. Some people like to meander. I like to do both. I like to do a pattern and then get annoyed and do my own pattern because I usually mess something up. So I think that that's fine, and I say that I take credit for it because because it's not exactly the same. I give partial credit to myself. I'm like, well, it was supposed to go this way, but we decided to go this way. Yeah. Exactly. But that's why I think makes a great quilt.
What do you like about English paper piecing?
Once you get the whole inside out, backwards mirror image thing over that hump, which is a really hard hump to get over, I actually did that with a project that had like 50 some pieces. Like, it was a small little thing, but I was able to kind of like, finally my brain understood it. Once your brain understands it, it's just so precise, and you can get like so many like crazy angles in there and do so many amazing things. And once you understand that, you don't really have to think much about it. I don't know if I could like actually create one though. Like, they have those fancy like computer things. A lot of people do that. I don't know if I could do that.
Rebecca Shoemaker. In Air High School many years ago, and unfortunately it's no longer taught, we had home economics, and I learned to quilt when I was in the 10th grade. And over the lifetime, it was something I did sporadically in my life, but then recently after retirement, I decided, hey, this is something I actually have time to do. So I got back into it, and I'm loving it now for the last 20 or so years.
Marissa Crick. I'm from Baltimore. I am going to talk about how I learned to make quilts. So I learned when I was a little kid with my mother. We made little tiny quilts together, and then her and I made a quilt for myself when I was in high school that we tied together rather than quilting the actual quilting part of it. And since then I've just been quilting, and my mom and I do it together over Zoom now because she's in Utah and I'm in Maryland. So yeah, that's how I learned.
Tiffany Parker. So I make my quilts actually in my kitchen while I am on the phone with different women who have PTSD, and I'm trying to encourage more quilting.
I love that. Kitchens are good for so many things. Thank you for stopping by.
Thank you.
Ann Brodsky. Originally, I was from Kentucky, but now I'm from Georgia. When I was 10 years old, my grandmother, Penny Jane Adkins Eaton, taught me. She put me on the corner of the quilt hanging from the ceiling, and she taught me how to make the stitches. And I worked for a while, and she said, take them all out. And I said, but Ma, why? And she said, because your husband will hang his toenails in them and hang himself. So she taught me to be precise and care about my work. And down the years, I kept trying to do better, and eventually I went to Kentucky State Fair and won Best of Show and a blue ribbon.
Kelly Mott. When the pandemic started and we were shut down and everything, my husband and I have a rock climbing gym, and we have members who were not able to come and exercise and get their mental health going with their exercise. So I made masks for them. It was the first time I picked up my machine in years, and I couldn't stop after that. So after making the masks, it was like, okay, let's make a quilted checkerboard for camping trips. Let's, make blankets for the kids because they're requesting them now. So something bright coming out of a dark time gave me quilting. It's beautiful.
Nikki Keating. So I'm a psychologist, and so I'm always thinking about how to take care of other people, and I was going through a hard time in my life and was like, I need to take care of myself. So let's see, it was a couple, maybe 2017, and I decided I love sewing, I love being creative, but I'm never great at making original things. So I'm great at collecting, and collaging was always my draw as a crafter. So I was naturally I'm going to be good at quilting. So I naturally started collecting fabric, right? And it took me months to feel like I had the right fabrics to start my first quilt, and I would think I was probably more anxious than anything else to actually start sewing. But I picked out a bunch of black and white fabrics, and then some hot pink, and I made a bunch of half square triangles and then a funky design with them. And it was kind of a roller coaster of ups and downs in my life, and my quilt project I think mirrored that.
Beth Norman Ham. I grew up in a family of quilters. My grandmother had 11 children. She made quilts for all 11, and then I was grandchild number something teen. I don't even know. There were so many of us. She made bed quilts for all of us, and my mother made quilts for all of us, and so now I'm making quilts. I don't know that anybody's going to love them like I love them, but I love making them, and it connects me to my family, and I love them.
Stephanie Harris. Sassy Steph of Memoirs.
Sassy Steph?
Yes, of Memoirs of a Long-Arm Quilter. Yeah. Today I wanted to come out and see all of the beautiful quilts and also meet many of the content creators that are on YouTube and Instagram, and definitely get to come out and see all of the vendors.
Emily from Damon Dane Quilting Co.
I acquired my first sewing machine from a storage locker. It was completely free to me, and I used an index card as a template. And I cut out my first piece of fabric and I sewed it together, and I had no idea what a 1/4-inch seam was. I had no idea what a rotary cutter was or cutting mat, and I kind of spiraled from there about 15 years ago now.
Marcia Murto. So my first quilt was actually in a class, one of the vendors here at the show, as a matter of fact. And I did not listen as carefully to the measure twice, cut once, and I suddenly discovered in my log cabin my strips were not the right size. And I remember Sonia from Bernina World of Sewing says, okay, this is an opportunity, not a mistake. And so she suggested, well, think, what can you do? So I pieced, actually, from my focal piece, my focal material, I pieced some additional strips, and then decided, okay, to pull it all together, I'll make the same mistake on the outer rim and piece those two as well.
Christine from Canada. I learned to make quilts from my mom, and there's a long history of quilting in her family, but mostly in my dad's family, because they came from a small town in Newfoundland where they used everything that they could find to make quilts, and so they made crazy quilts with found fabric, and nobody labeled their quilts. So now I have half a dozen quilts from my aunt, who's since passed away, and I'm the only one who knows she made them. So I think I'm going to label them.
Brenda McConnell. My mother and I, this is our 4th QuiltCon coming together, and this is our time together. I have 2 sisters, but neither of them quilt, and I've been the only one to pick up quilting from my mother. My mother learned it from my grandmother, and then I remember sitting with my great-grandmother, and she would be quilting. So for me, it's a bit of tradition, and very important for me to have time with my mother. So it's family tradition. I was speaking with some ladies today at the coffee shop, and they asked why I was here, and they said, oh, I remember my grandmother quilting. I said, that's kind of something that can bring us all together, because we all have grandmothers that did this, and it's kind of indifferent of how you were brought up or where you were brought up. So that's the great thing about quilting.
Thanks for joining us for this mini episode of Running Stitch. We will be back again in a few weeks with the continuation of Season 4, focused on the intersection of quilts and technology. We've got a lot of great stories coming your way, so subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.